It's a long-standing meme in Marvel Future Fight that, you know, we're getting tier 5s before we even get tier 2s, and there's so many characters languishing in the dirt, and Singularity has been in the game for 8 years and never gotten a uniform. Yeah, I understand, and that really sucks. 8 years, they've passed on characters like Singularity and never given her a uniform. But you know what's worse than that? Beast. Imagine giving a character multiple uniforms over the years. They've tried once, twice, 3, 4 times. 5 if you count the Inception. And they've never made Beast good. This is the list of 8, 9, 10 characters that I think are by far the worst. And in my opinion, the most neglected. It's not even neglected. It's like the most punished. The characters that have been punished the most in Marvel Future Fight to just be perpetually in hell as far as their design goes. And Beast is probably up there as one of the all-timers. He's gotten the fewest new looks. Most of his looks are 3 of his looks are exceedingly similar, and all of them have been bad. All of them have just reduced him to a very poor leadership / support. Never been meta, never even been close. And he's probably one of my highest picks for this honor of kind of like ongoing worst character. Someone who's a little bit better, but I still think is quite bad given how expensive he is Professor X. And think about it this way. For one of the most popular mutants who basically was utilized to revive the entire genre of mutant comics with House of X and Powers of 10, and they fumbled him this hard. When he was released, he was okay. Then they decided to follow it up with, hey guys, this is a cosmetic uniform. This doesn't actually buff his powers. And then the next uniform, they were like, hey guys, what if we just released a weak character? Professor X is probably one of the most disappointing expensive characters in the game. They haven't had a lot of tries like they have with some of the other characters on this list. So I do hope that with the 4th or 5th iteration, hopefully the 4th, they'll get it right. But this is a generationally bad run. If you think about it, Professor X is actually quite comparable to Hyperion. Now, put that into perspective. When you think of known, famous characters, can you think of a character worse than Professor X? He's been in multiple movies over the last 2 decades. He's been played by different famous actors, and they've done him as dirty as a character who's basically just a cheap ripoff of Superman who's never been anywhere outside of the comics. They gave Hyperion exactly 2 uniforms. One of them was cel-shaded. Does this sound familiar? This is not really a rework. It's just a cosmetic upgrade. And then Enter the Phoenix like 4 years ago. And that's it. The only benefit that Professor X has to this situation is that he didn't wait he got his uniform more recently. He didn't have to wait as long. And so Professor X got the benefit of being tier 4. But if Professor X didn't get tier 4, don't get it twisted, he would be one of the worst characters in the game. It's biblical how bad they've made Professor X. Speaking of bad, Black Panther. So like Beast, they've actually tried 5 times to make Black Panther good, and every single time they failed. When they last made him good for his title movie, they immediately released tier 3 with Captain America and just obliterated his value. Then he got some garbage around the time of Mephisto, which was just complete useless trash. The only character that got anything good from this era was Doctor Doom. And then they decided, you know what? We're going to wait this time around. We're not going to make the same mistake as last time. We're going to release a bunch of combat tier 4s first, like Moon Knight and Hulk and Carnage. And then the year after that, we'll have the formula right so we can release this Black Panther. Yeah, you're right. He's terrible. Yeah, no, he's actually terrible. Yeah. So, brutal, an absolutely brutal run for Black Panther. Again, a super popular character. We're not talking about Singularity here, guys. We're not talking about Kid Kaiju. Of course, it's hilarious that these characters have been rejected, but these are also the rejects of Marvel. These are not popular characters. These are the characters in the absolute bin of bins, in the case of Singularity and Kid Kaiju. We are talking about Professor X. We're talking about characters that run nations. Black Panther. These are characters that represent entire countries in the Marvel Universe, and they're absolutely dog water in this game. It's insane. Well, mentioning insane, we have to mention Loki. A character that has been trapped in the same guinea pig hamster wheel of suffering. He is the Sisyphus of ABX ABL. A long time ago, I don't know when, around here maybe, they figured out that, hey, we can give Loki a special ability that makes his explosions, you know, more when there's more characters and fewer when there's fewer characters around. And since then, they've just relegated this dude to being the ABX ABL whipping boy. And this is a double-edged sword, because on the one hand, he's very good if you can master him. On the other hand, players are tired of playing him. They've been playing him for like 2-3 years now. It's like people are getting tired of this shit, man. And he just does nothing else. He just does nothing else. He's a Sisyphus one trick, and he just gets roped into doing the same thing. And again, we're talking about Loki's brother. We're talking about a very popular character, you know, played multiple times in the MCU, movies, TV shows. We're not talking about Singularity. We're talking about very popular characters who just have been absolutely butchered by the balancing team, and just made into an absolute laughing stock. Like War Machine, like Rhodey. Guys, War Machine is supposed to be Iron Man's right-hand man. Okay? He's literally like he steps in for Iron Man when Iron Man's not around. So he's basically like Iron Man 2. And like Iron Man 2, he sucks, because what he basically gets boiled down to is another version of Hulkbuster. Guys, Hulkbuster's not a real person. There's nothing inside Hulkbuster. Hulkbuster is an AI. It's Jarvis. And you're telling me in Marvel Future Fight the best they could do for War Machine, which is an actual person inside, is to make him just like War Machine, or just like Hulkbuster. That is insane. They have boiled him down to a support. That's crazy. He's been in the game for ages. Look at this, man. Look at all these uniforms. Garbage, 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 garbage. Bro. The 3099 curse is real, man. Any character they gave the 3099 uniform to, they just hate. Wow, that's crazy. Man. That explains a lot. But yeah, I just going through this list, man. Some of these characters just hurt way too bad. Dormammu is another one. Okay, Dormammu's been in the game for how many years? 8, I think. He has his own GBR. Okay. And he's only ever gotten one uniform. And this uniform came out in like what, 2020? So we're coming up on 5 years ago for a character who is this popular. Again, appeared in MCU content. The titular villain for Doctor Strange. Nothing. And they could sell it. He costs crystals now. What's the excuse for not giving him something? I have no idea. Dormammu, this one hurts real bad. Right? Silver Surfer, Odin, all these guys got multiple uniforms since then. They did a uniform for Odin that's like 2 years old, bro. Even Odin got more uniforms. That's crazy. Absolutely crazy. Which brings me to Rocket Raccoon. Imagine being the title, imagine being like the focus, the protagonist, the main protagonist of an MCU movie, and then you don't even get a tier 4 in that update. And oh boy have they tried. Oh boy have they tried. Now they haven't tried very hard, don't get me wrong. I feel very much like we have the Marvel Future Revolution of characters right here, because I remember Rocket is in the gambling animation for Future Revolution, and I think that perfectly encapsulates how Netmarble feels about this tiny fellow. They just don't care. They just do not care, bro. Just keep raking in the bucks. Yeah, not the most popular character on this list, probably the least popular character on this list, but still insane to see with the amount of content he's been in and the amount of attempts they've had, that they've never made a good version. They've just never made a good version. They've missed so many times. And just think about other characters that have this many uniforms, and multiple of those uniforms were meta. We don't even have one meta uniform for this guy. It's insane. And that brings me to kind of my last pick here, which is actually Jubilee. Now, this one is going to seem really weird. Jubilee, not the most popular mutant, the third mutant on this list after Beast and Professor X. But then you think about, wait a minute, didn't Jubilee get her awakening with Negasonic? Negasonic's not that old, Alex. She's from like 2020. Oh, wait a minute. Jubilee's not from 2020. Jubilee's from 2019. Look at this video, May 2019. Look at the beard on this freak. And look at the UI. Guys, when Jubilee came out in the game, she came out with Iceman and Bishop. Okay? In the time since Jubilee came out, Iceman has gotten not 1, but 2 uniforms. And Bishop just got a uniform in a tier 4. Think about how much they must hate Jubilee over at Netmarble. Like, this is hilarious, bro. They hate her ass. What other explanation do you have for this? She's probably as popular as Bishop and Iceman. Probably. She appears in more content than they do, if you're looking at Marvel and the TV shows and stuff. And yet nothing from the devs. Just absolutely nothing. I don't know if it's because her skills have too many animations, have too many little sparkles and things like that, and it like bricks people's phones. I don't know. Too many lens flares, you know, but it's actually crazy, man. It's actually insane how much they hate Jubilee. And there are a bunch of other characters that could fit this bill as well. So quick little shout out to, you know, Clea, Medusa, Sentinel. A lot of these other characters have just been in the dirt for Marvel Future Fight for a long time. And it just kind of just makes no sense. It makes no sense. They've been in MCU movies. They've been in votes and polls by players. And the devs are just like, ignore, ignore, ignore. So, yeah, that's my list. Pretty mind-blowing when you put it down on paper and you think about it, that some of these characters have... It's not that they've been waiting 8 years. They haven't been waiting. They've just been continuously made fun of and just given shit rework after shit rework for no reason. No other reason than what I assume is bias. I assume, like, at this point, there's no other way to explain it. How some characters, every single uniform they get is good, and other characters, every single uniform they get is bad. There just has to be an implicit bias. It's now explicit. There just has to be a bias at Netmarble, and I would have to see, you know, I would have to see some pretty strong evidence to prove otherwise, because, yeah, some of these explanations, some of these characters just defy explanation. Anyways, hit me up in the comments down below. Let me know what you think. Thank you so much for watching the video. Smash the like button if you enjoyed the content, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.